The stitch I'm going to show you how to do now is called a wagon wheel stitch. A couple important things to know when you're doing a wagon wheel stitch is I'm using 6 strands of floss, and instead of pulling 6 strands of floss through the eye of my needle, I'm threaded 3 strands and then I tied them both together at the end, so I'm getting the effect of 6 strands all at the same time. It's important to have a nice thick amount of thread when you do the stitch, so you don't have to wind around the flower as much, and you'll understand as I get going. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give this flower 5 spokes like a bicycle, and I'm going to start on the outside. It makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to come down right in the center, and then I'm going to move out. I'm going to go to the outside of the line, come down in the center, so I need 5 spokes. And try to space them out so they're as equal as you can get. If you want to be very precise, you can measure it out. I just like to eyeball things. Okay. So now that I have my 5 spokes, I'm going to start in the center and I'm going to weave. So I'm going to come up right close to the center point, not at the center point, right next to it. And I'm going to go over and under. So over the first one, under this one, over this one, under this one. And I'm going to skip all the way around. So over this one, under this one, over, under, over, under, all the way around. So I'm not going through the fabric, I'm staying on top of the fabric. I'm just catching between that spoke that I made and the thread and the fabric. So I'm just going between. That's why we made 5 spokes. If you make an even number of spokes, you're not going to get a nice weave. They're all going to be going over the same spoke and under the same spoke, so you won't get a nice weave effect. So I'm just going to continue all the way around. I like to use the back side of my needle when I'm doing this. That way I don't accidentally catch my threads in my spokes and split them, because you don't want to go into your thread. You want to make sure you're going completely over and completely under that thread. Oops, see, I caught my green, so I'm going to back up slowly. There we go. I'm going to keep going all the way around. I try to have a really long piece of thread when I do this. I want to try to get my flower all in one shot. If I don't, it's okay. Looks like I may or may not make it all the way around. So you want to go as far as you can. The more that you add to your flower, the more puffy it's going to be. So you can kind of see that my flower is starting to puff up a little bit. But I want to make sure I get all the way out over my spokes so you don't actually see my spokes. And it looks like I'm going to run out of thread. So no worries. So my next stitch would be over. So I'm going to go over this one and I'm going to just go down in my fabric right there and tack it. So super easy, not a problem. Let me grab some more thread real quick. Again, I'm using 3 strands and then I'm tying them both together. Here's both ends of my floss. I'm tying them both together. That way I get the effect of having 6 strands all at the same time. If you can get 6 strands of floss through your eye of your needle and you're more comfortable doing it that way, that's fine. Whatever you're comfortable with. So I'm going to come up right next to that spoke, because that was our under, and I'm just going to carry on. So this was my under, so this is my over, and my under, over, under. You can kind of see that my spokes are starting to disappear a little bit, but you can still feel where they're at, So I want to make sure that they're completely covered. Almost there. That was over, this one's under. And just like we did when we ran out of thread, I'm just going to go to my next stitch. I'm just going to go down next to the spoke and then tie it off in the back. And there you go. You have a wagon wheel.